There we go. Much better. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another stream. Hopefully, you guys are doing great. Without further ado, let's get started. Yesterday, pretty decent day in terms of, not really decent. It was kind of lackluster, if I'm being honest. Nothing too much happened during the New York session. Nothing to write home about. Everything just pretty much carried as it is. We ended up getting that second bottom that we were looking for. Just went a lot deeper than we anticipated, but that's something that we want to take. Got non-farm payroll coming out right now, so that explains the sort of larger moves. We want to sort of try and fade this again. Just wait for this bar to close, see if we can get that pushing against us rather than down. If our natural move is down after this bar, then we're probably likely to be bullish off of this. Because if it did have sort of a decent amount of longs, so if they clear these longs out prior to moving higher, that means that they are naturally looking to search for that higher. Very large sort of dip, very large sort of push. Nothing sort of too surprising. Sort of taking all the stops out again. Cleared out all these guys right now. Now we're waiting for the knife to sort of lull itself back. Once it lulls itself back, we're looking for it to try and sort of take out a high. Continue up higher. We'll see if it takes out a high, then resumes down. If not, it continues sort of building shorts and allowing shorts to be able to stack up. Because here it's not really something that you want to long into, just because it's too fast to warrant any sort of anyone sort of getting into that trade. So they're just sort of liquidating, then moving across. So they'll come back down and allow more people to jump in. Once those guys jump in, that's your sort of opportunity to try and counteract that long. But very sort of insane little push down. It's not even showing up properly on the spread. That's how fast we moved. Coming down now, I mean, we'll look at what the numbers actually ended up being. Like I said, it missed it by a lot. I mean, unemployment rate is down, but non-farm payroll is a lot higher than anticipated. And it is what we're looking for. Unemployment being only down a point, 0.1%. It's nothing to write home about, but the number of people added onto sort of non-farm pay is kind of something sort of decently big. So everyone's sort of short, probably more likely short off of that. Again, across the board, just a lot further down than we anticipated. Like I said yesterday, it's not something that we were looking to meet. Speaking of yesterday, we got that double bottom that set up into that Asia high, that stop hunt, but this reaction downwards it's less than ideal if you are looking to be short for the day, just because it's coming too soon, and our first move being that short is not necessarily always the best of things, just because it usually means that we're going into the day just clearing out sort of long, so we're just starting the day with a lot more shorts on the book than we necessarily want, which is usually a bullish sign because the shorts translate into longs. But like any sort of news release, we gotta wait for this and wait for sort of signs to sort of mellow out, because they could easily capture these guys who went early long here, push these guys out for no reason other than pure enjoyment. I'm not joking, of course it's for a reason, but we still sort of got to look for that as a opportunity that may arise before sort of committing into that. Morning, bro. How you doing? When was a loss. Essentially, what we previously had here, where we had these news, because we had back-to-back news days where we ended up getting stuff come out. This is again a lot more effective than what we had previously, but we're looking for the same reactions. We're looking for walls that is trying to keep this under. If we can keep this under, we can push this down. Streamed every day this week, I think. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised I managed to it. You know what? I've been waking up for London session just for this week because I knew Asia is gonna be a bit bigger than just by looking at the first day. So I was like, ah, okay, gotta wake my lazy ass up just so I can be there for London. Glad you got out. Yeah, again, it was easy little stop hunt. You can see where it sort of ends up closing back at the same area. You can see that the next sort of previous close where the daily imbalance come, they're just sort of trapping volume here. If you switch back to Bookmap, you can show that a bit further. You probably have an opportunity to get back in well and truly again. That's that area here. Area we have that volume area again. You've got these concentrated longs instantly undercut, and now we're looking to find signs or find opportunities to potentially be bullish again, because we want to be buyers on the downward swing, we want to be sellers on the when we're sort of going a bit higher than anticipated. Slow day yesterday, yeah, it was pretty slow. Nothing really happened during London. I mean New York, other than during this area here. But it's like a nice little W. Is what we're looking for essentially. Again, maybe we're looking for it eventually to come into here, but it went deeper, gave you a nice little double bottom much later on, then sort of dragged itself higher, and Asia sort of surprising us once again. At this point, it's not a surprise if Asia moves, but it ends up moving just because London, New York, and London really didn't have too much going for it. Look at everything right now. Again, gold is selling off, which is always a good sign. Again, probably due to the fact that ES and everything sort of collected shorts and that double bottom swing high. So Bitcoin's cleared its liquidity out. Then we're looking for it to then push itself further back. We'll see if this finds itself in need of a further liquidity sweep, or if it tries to sort of drag itself back up. One thing you gotta sort of be cognizant of is we don't want to sort of break this sort of weekly trend of trying to trade lower than the previous week, because we want it to be sort of a bearish week, and again it's already closing bearish, so there's nothing more to add. Even if we recover to the high here, it's still gonna close bearish, which still falls in line to our anticipated sort of target. And it sets up nicely for next week if we do end up closing higher this week, but still on a negative note. Just because we're just grabbing a lot more liquidity here. We can then sort of push up high. We open the week or start the week a lot higher. That means there's more opportunities to drop further, or the fact that if we start higher, then we don't need to go as lower as we might do if we start sort of here or wherever we end up closing this week. Ideally looking for this to sort of try and mellow itself around here. Again, it's pushing itself now. We still have sort of quite a while, about 7 minutes till this bar closes, and it sort of defines itself well and truly. And there's that bid wall that we're looking for. We'll see if we can capture longs here. If we can then push these guys further and further down, and then sort of explode these guys on the swing up. bought more of the same again. You got a lot of people just panic selling. A lot of people just end up getting the stops here and only ended up getting the best price at this point. So they shorted here and then instantly sort of regretting, or they sold here, they instantly regretting, and so on. Just a nice little build up. As you can see again, these are what we're looking for in terms of rejection when we get buys like massively come into this area. I don't know what reasoning someone would use to buy here, but again, it's not us, so we're not complaining. That further sort of pushes us back into the idea that this was a nice little volume stop they're keeping uh, just around this area here, and now we're sort of looking for that if we're coming back down. So again, we're just trying to grab as many sort of early longs as we possibly can if we want to push these guys further and further out. And once we do that, and if we do that, in fact, it's again just all dependent on if this stays or not. If this stays and we capture longs, we can then push down. If this doesn't, we remove this and we instantly sort of ricochet upwards. ES finally making its move down. It took it a while. Pepe's madness memes are the most powerful. God damn. You gambling again? Oh, god damn it, man. Yeah, and it's a pretty controlled, just trading back into this range here. Bit back again, just trying to get as many people short as possible ahead of the curb. Off of this, currently we're just looking, trying to get into longs here, but I don't think it's not obviously not usually never the time. Just by looking at how things ended up being set up, again, it just looks like it's a further trap. We might push it down on the next bar. Just wait and see. You've got 4 minutes till it closes anyhow. And once we sort of get that confirmation, we can then push itself upwards and hit that into this higher. Numbers. Sort of read into more altcoins and see what positionings they're currently taking. Beat the casino tape. Take long. 19. God damn. Beat the casino, but for how long? Haha. Tonight my family will eat rice. uh, that's a good thing. I guess you can capture longs here, you can capture longs here, so that's the reason why they went up into these highs in the first place, to get these longs. We want to use our retail brains, and maybe that's why they went long here as well, but every time they went long, they were punished, and now they're finally going short, so maybe they'll get punished under that fact. So usually they say buy the retest, but we already know they're not buying this retest. In fact, they're shorting here, so that's most likely a retest that we can trust. Again, we're looking to find further signs if they're trying to push these guys further down or not, and that's the only thing you need to look out for is this little bid wall here. If they get enough longs, they'll push it down and give you a second swipe at things. When was that previously done? I'm trying to figure out. They did it during this week as well. They just dropped the knife, grabbed the longs, and it's not really here. I think it was further back. Looks like I can't go that further back without destroying things. And this is why I say save it. Chop Pepe. No, don't make me do that. You spent my cocaine. Cocaine and hookers. That's a noble cause. You're helping the disenfranchised, and you're also paying for workers. It's a good thing. helping the economy. The only way to do it. Now it's just a waiting game to see what ends up happening. A minute left till this bar closes. We're getting a decent amount of longs trying to get comfortably nestled here. What about charting ICP? Sure, I'll do that. Nothing I can sort of believe in or nothing I care about, but yeah, it's adequately a shitcoin, not wholly a shitcoin. It's gonna be more of the same thing anyhow. But this spot, nothing on spot. Let me check futures real quickly. Ah, go figure. We just take the spot and have more data anyhow. Actually, no, I think future has a decent amount of data set for us to use. ICP, my boy, about that too. I know people who still try to believe in this thing. I think spot's probably gonna be the one. Ah, there we go. Last 2 weeks. Oh my god, it's so down. It's down bad, man. Just nothing to it. No more data. Yeah, nothing holding it. There's your weekly resistance at 8. Oh, fell from grace. Did you also happen to buy Luna at 100? I mean, more of the same things. It's going down, so I think we'll expect some rise out of it. It's just clearing out liquidity as things do. You got your large double top here. It's just sort of mellowing out here. There you go. There's your large double top. Sort of pushing out. Grab longs here. We're pushing these guys out. We're holding in. We might sort of push back into sort of this area here. See if we can break this, but I think at that point we'll start to struggle because you get traders coming in here, starting to buy this breakout. So that's something that you want to start thinking of selling into. Once we sort of sell into that, we then sort of watch reactions around here. If they're sort of selling or buying, if they're selling, it's sort of something you want to continue up for potential squeeze up higher. Maybe target this area here, just at this high. But other than that, nothing sort of too garish. Coming into the next couple of weeks, you want to be sort of bearish, and there we go. It's cleared that wall out. It's sort of pushing out now. Recovered nicely, but again, it's not nothing we want to ride home about. We still have sort of this to overcome. It could just snap into this and push back down. Again, usually, didn't mean to do that. Again, usually they sort of grab people, see how many longs we got, and then push back up. Luckily, I got out quickly. That's a good thing. Good thing. That's a good thing. You always want to cut your losses as quickly as possible. Grabbing a lot more longs here. These are sort of pushed out. I mean, not really stops or liquidation. So it's sort of new longs getting added into sort of the pie. Still under the sort of massive sort of deficit we've put ourselves in just by swiping all the way down to here. Still looking for opportunities to try and grab this around this area, because again, it's just creating this large wick for us on this bar, just closing off this area here. Grabbed a lot more longs. Now we're sort of trying to push them down. Liquidate all of them. Yeah, hell yeah, man. More blood. The blood quarter. Let's see what articles they're printing. jobs generated. That doesn't smell like a recession. Hopefully we get the Great Depression again, at least for the US. So I can go over to US and be like, hey guys, let me buy some things. That's what happened in '08. You just go over from the UK, just go over, just buy many things because it's so everything's dirt cheap. You like come back with like a suitcase full of a lot of expensive stuff for dirt cheap because it's like shopping in a third world country essentially. So I want that to happen again. Mellowing out now, grabbing a few more longs. Still waiting for it to sort of shift its sort of pattern before sort of entering into a long here, but generally it is something that you're trying to think about. You're trying to be bullish for this week close to some certain extent. I think it just tries to set up for a bearish next week, and in order to do that, we got to set up much higher. So we want to look for bullish sort of patterns to enter into intraday, then sort of cap off the end of the week, potentially 50% between this entire sort of swing that we ended up doing for this sort of week. Again, conservative sort of target will probably be around sort of this area here. Once we sort of push again, we've got a lot of time to sort of develop into here. So we'll wait for the reactions of traders on the open. Probably get a double bottom or trade back into sort of this wick here. Once we trade back into it, you can probably be a lot safer. Even if we don't trade back into it, instead take these lows. We do have sort of lower areas here, but we can sort of definitely sort of push liquidity out the market. Again, this is sort of going back down. Like I said, it's nice to see these guys go long, and not really something we want to get into just yet, because seen these things too many times to sort of say, oh yeah, definitely gonna enter here, definitely do this. So what we want to look for is them going more shorts than they are going longs anytime we start swinging lower. Once we start doing that, they've clearly sort of shifted away the focus from targeting longs to targeting shorts essentially. And with this sort of hanging around, letting shorts sort of stack, that's a decent sort of sign, but generally it doesn't outweigh what we need to outweigh from the long side. So again, probably look for a further sort of swipe, further sort of push, grab all the liquidity out. Once we get that liquidity out, we can then sort of push up higher. Nice little hammer, so you can see everyone went long there, got punished, getting pushed out slowly. They're like either coping, it's like don't worry, he'll come back, and by the time it comes back, it already swiped low and they're already out, and it continued off on higher. Everything being green today, I don't know why it's green on here. Oh, actually, yeah, it makes sense because Asia did something nice today, so definitely does make sense why we are green now, if not just for a bit. You can see where we swiped here in the morning during Asia, but where the volume ended up closing is at this previous support that we had marked off. You see where that wicked again, came back down. Now it's just collecting short here, resuming and collecting a few more longs around this mark. So we may get it come back and swipe a bit lower, maybe come back down to the center around here, best slash worst case depending on who you are, then push on, try break this sort of high again, and move maybe up to the weekly, but that's a sort of tall order to ask for. In terms of Bitcoin wise, I mean, it's already sort of a lot higher than where ES is at, and for the week, it's sort of I mean, it's got the weekend, so it's paid some mind, but not too much. It's already closing slightly bearish, but again, we're slightly bearish for this week. We're just trying to set up for a bearish week for next week. So the best way to do that is to grab this, and they will retail will be like, oh yeah, perfect opportunity. This is a breakout. I think they call this. I don't know, not too familiar. But again, if they start accumulating longs here, open the week here, then they can just flush all this liquidity out that they sort of accumulated over the last couple of weeks. And that will sort of build into our picture of the next couple of weeks being a lot rougher than. Finra not collecting too many shorts, so the idea here being that we don't really have the ability to go too high without sort of adding liquidity from our own pockets. So we want to continue building these shorts, and then finally we can then try push it out. Because again, you can see when we sort of reach a peak or when we reach a large amount of shorts within the market, that's usually signs and areas where we look to reverse. Again, see those here coming into full effect. So it's always something that you want to pay attention to. Really expecting a large gap coming out of SPY. We're sort of opening around here. We can then sort of, when we open, we can then sort of fill. When we fill, we can then continue up higher, essentially achieving a double bottom. You can see now this is sort of making its way now, pushing these guys out. Very low on the liquidity. Looks like a lot of people are just sort of waiting with a bated breath. Not really too interested just yet, so we got to get them interested one way or another, by either breaking lows or pushing up higher, or just stagnating and letting the natural course of idiots take into account. Not really too much to add on here. It's just the same things over and over again. This week has just been sort of a lot less variety than you hope for. Just same things happening day in and day out. Just 3 back-to-back news days coming, so you trade those days exactly the same as you do any other news days. So that's why there's a lack of variation. And the way you trade it is by doing the opposite. You can see how we built long, then we flushed those longs out on the news day or on the time when the news released. Now we're building shorts out. Once we build those shorts out, we can then look for them to sort of clear all those shorts. You can see you got the spot buyers coming in here as well, so it's nice to grab these. I don't know why they came in here, like I said. It's just they never learn their lesson, do they? They're very daft. I guess that's instant regret seeping in. trading into the wick, not too much, but again, just enough to sort of mellow this out. Again, close off this perfectly, making our way back down. Just hoping for something of interest to come out during the session, because I can't keep going around in circles, can I now? Ooh, April's job reports. Let's go. Let's read this. That's always nice. Unemployment slips too. Wage raises sharply again. Oh, that's always good. US was being abysmal with wage rate versus living. US created a stronger than expected 20 jobs in April. Increases passes 1800 forecast polled by the Wall Street Journal. They gained, but they're empty though, so we don't care if they're creating new jobs when the jobs just being not being filled in. And the fact that what was it Ohio or Illinois, one of those I states, they passed a bill loosening child labor. So who's to say those retail jobs that once were freely available for people actually need are going to children? So there's always that. So the gaining new jobs last month was partially offset by new data showing that the hiring was not as strong in March and February as previously reported. But overall tenure of labor market is one surprising strength in the face of US interest rates. It's not really that strong, is it? If you got jobs but no one to do those jobs, so you got a labor shortage, so not really fixed. The employment rate, which ticked, yeah, I mean, low, only 0.%, and we got what 50, was it 80% more new jobs available to us? Government said Friday that the matches a cycle low in January rather, and before that, a level last seen since 68. Hourly raise 0.5% last month, matching the biggest increase since last summer's. Increases in hourly wages of the past year climbed 4.4%, perhaps a sign that a more rapid wage growth has become embedded in the economy. I mean, that's just because the cost of living is so expensive. So of course they have to raise wages so people won't be working the jobs that these low labor jobs that's needed. Again, I think that's what these new jobs are anyhow. Trading higher than in pre-market action. Treasury yield rose higher. A hot US labor market may mean we call a slight chill, but it's pretty darn strong. Normally, it's a great thing. A tight labor market, however, might be also added to the high inflation. If labor market remains strong, the Fed could be forced to come off the sidelines and raise interest rates again, putting the US closer to recession. Raising interest rates have historically led to economic downturns. Yeah, I don't think it stays too strong for too long. And what do you mean raise interest rates if people are working? No, that's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. What? People will be more inclined to spend it if they have disposable income, and if you reduce the cost. I mean, the first thing first, they need to try and put a cap on these businesses gouging people for anything and everything, because that's the main thing that's causing the increased wages to not mean as much as it should mean, and it's just sort of affecting cost of living, rapidly. So there's no real desire to start spending on other tangible goods. So because they just all spend on necessities and the bare minimum to survive. So once you curb that, then you can start lowering interest rates. But again, I don't know. government does what it wants. I think US is destined to fail. I mean, it ran close. 100 years, pretty good. Not many empires that last 100 years. I mean, if the US falls, it should just go back under become a British colony. No, it was much better under the British rules. Collecting some shorts now. I think this might sort of drive itself a bit higher after the fact, which is always a nice thing. Always a nice thing. We've traded low again. You can see these first two bars came in and just swiped low very aggressively. It's an easy thing to sort of watch and sort of learn from. Yes, just playing around with this food. If it, I think this sort of actually this is delayed anyhow. That's why it's sort of so bad. Let me go and pull up the non-delayed feed, which I have here. It's pretty much they're just following each other's tails at this point in time. Again, just grabbed a few more longs at this top here, watching them or trying to watch them trying to drive these guys under after the fact will be nice. Again, we've got about 25 minutes till open. Once we grab open, we can then sort of gap down, sort of fill these guys in. Once we fill these guys in, then we can sort of look for maybe a push back up. This is what yesterday's close being around here. Everything else just pre-market jitters. So again, we can then run out everybody who is in the pre-markets that haven't got out yet. Everyone during Asia and so on. Create a sort of sharp M like this essentially. Run out this will be where you're bullish, then we can sort of drive this higher. If it starts going up a bit higher, they're just going to just fall sort of on deaf ears after the fact. Again, the whole added verb doing the opposite always takes full effect on news days. Do we have any more pivots coming to us? No, not really. Actually, 3 o'clock. Credit changes. There we go. That's something that you may want to pay attention to. That's credit. The credit market is the money market that rules. That rules the charts. It's no secret. Just changing the credit will always be a good thing. And if not a good thing, it's just another sort of time we can use to pivot off of, because ultimately we don't really give two flying monkeys. Oh, sentiment did hit 1. Oh, okay. Hell yeah. Watch these guys out. I never have augmented bots. God, I hate the color white. Oh, there we go. Two. Yeesh. That's coming a bit high. Looks like next week is next week is gonna be a very, very fun week. Not for bulls, but it's gonna be fun nonetheless. Nothing sort of changing my mind right now. I don't think nothing that will come about in the next sort of 30 minutes to change my mind. You guys should know what you guys are looking for. Again, two things: you're looking for a double bottom, or it to sort of hang around here until sort of two. Watch the collection of longs on Bookmap. If it gets too heavy on the longs, usually they swipe these guys under, and that's exactly what you're looking for. But collecting switching that around if we sort of start accumulating shorts at a much higher rate, then we can easily sort of push out. Again, ultimately we are looking for it to go up higher, but it's just a matter of fact, do we get the luxury of getting a bit more lower before going higher? Markets are opening with a gap up. Gaps are usually nice to sort of fill it in the downwards direction. In turn, let's go into here. There we go. We can sort of close off here. So we start our gap. Start a gap from here. That's essentially what we're looking for. Come back to extended. There we go. So we're opening around here. We ideally want to meet ourselves around here. Once we meet ourselves around here, then it becomes a point in fact, do we want to curb it or not? Because we sort of opened much lower yesterday, and then we sort of traded back to the other side, essentially. No close here, so we just traded back to the other side, just didn't fill out that entirely, but sort of left that partially open, and we sort of coming back and filled it in. God damn you and your Pepe. Don't fly too close to the sun. Everything should leverage itself to sort of try close itself higher based on the week. I don't know how high it closes, just sort of watch out for those reactions. I don't think there's any sort of big bearish patterns we could look for unless we sort of come in 3 o'clock hit, then we swipe all this liquidity back down and close it really bearish. But generally, it's a more bullish day today, which is a oddity amongst. Actually, no, it's not oddity. It only happens when we need it to happen. And with that, I will call it a day. Thank you guys so much for coming. I will catch you guys next week. Make sure to trade safe. Watch those long accumulations, and the charts should just play itself out after the fact. Should be a relatively easy day to trade today. I don't see many sort of spanners coming out of nowhere for a wrench in the works. So we can sort of conclude it here. Have a lovely weekend. Trade safe, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.